Greetings and namaste. My name is Siobhan. Thank you for tuning into my channel, Blu-ray ATF. We are going to cover some different topics today, actually. So, if you've been tuning into my Facebook Lives or YouTube videos for quite a while, you will hear this recurring theme throughout many of my videos, which is about assisting each other in the integration of our higher selves. So I want to discuss this a bit today to help clarify the importance of this. The importance of integrating your higher self through healing, integrating your light, connecting with the pure source of who you truly are. It is so important that it is the primary overriding directive of Ascension. So if you were to look at, and it doesn't have to be a battle plan, but a plan, because we arranged a plan before coming here in transitioning this planet. And if you were to look at that plan, the number one primary directive at the top of that plan would be higher self-integration of every being incarnated, regardless of origin. Earth origin, starseed origin, angelic origin. Integration of higher self is the number one primary directive, meaning that it supersedes all missions, tasks, and lessons. Every single one. It also means it's the ultimate vision, the ultimate mission, meaning that every mission, task, or lesson ultimately leads to understanding the importance of higher self integration. And to understand this, look at your own life as an example. Look at the collective as an example. Certain things occur when you are not connected, when you are not aware of your higher self, of your divine guides, of your spirit guides, of your angelic guides, of your higher self, of your oversoul, of your ascended ancestors and masters. When you do not have a consistent connection develop, you created life unaware, not understanding, not having the connection. Not saying that you couldn't hear every once in a while, but you were not integrated at a level where you could create on purpose, with intention, the life you would have desired to create. So ultimately, that is the purpose, and even understanding with free will choice is understanding that my highest potential is actually when I develop this connection. And when I do not develop this connection, when I am not told to develop this connection, when I'm not remembering this connection, I actually experience, attract, or create experiences, situations, illnesses, disease that manifest within my physical experience that are not pleasing, that cause chaos or are self-destructive. Disconnection from your higher self, or the inability to hear clearly with clarity, leads to confusion about who you are, confusion about your nature, confusion about your divinity, confusion about your multidimensionality, confusion about your mission and your purpose and why you are incarnated at this time, confusion about the interactions, the relationships that serve you, confusions about your belief systems, confusions about the fact that you are a creator being. And those confusions lead to doubt, distrust, manipulation, deceit, abuses, trauma, all type of things that are not I guess you could say, not going to lead directly to your highest potential experience. So basically you experience yourself as less than divine because you're unaware of your divinity in the first place. Not only are you unaware, but you're actually taught that you are less than divine. You are sinful. You are unworthy. You experience traumas. You witness traumas in your neighborhood, in your home, within your family, between your mother and father. There's lots that people experience. But the point is to come out of that and ascend that, transcend that, heal those experiences, remembering why you came here, understanding and blessing everything that you've went through because it gave you the opportunity to heal it and clear it from your bloodline. Whatever you have experienced is likely a direct representation of your mission. So that way, once you start understanding why you've experienced what you've experienced, why you've witnessed what you've witnessed, why you've endured what you've endured, you can start to bless it and finally let go of it. It's hard to let go when you don't understand why these things happen and you feel that they're unfair and nobody should have to go through these things, which nobody should have to go through these things. But there's a long earth history. And to a certain extent, it's quite irrelevant because we're here to bring it to an end. That is what end times and revelation and ascension mean. We are closing the door to the third dimension. And we are moving forward to the fourth and the fifth dimensional physical experience. And depending on how much integration you've done, you might be at an integration or a level of consciousness that's fifth, sixth, or seventh dimensional. And many of us are connecting to even higher aspects of ourselves, much higher than the sixth and seventh, even the eighth dimension. But understand that you are here to ground those energies onto this planet. Your body is a biological device that has multiple functions. And when you have higher beings, meaning they are older souls that have experienced many things for millions and billions of years and have ascended other planets, incarnating onto this planet, into these physical bodies, where we are each able to transmit energy, transmute energy. Our bodies are like transducers. We are grounding energy. When you're looking at the Schumann resonance, when you're seeing waves of energy, whether they are solar winds, solar flares, or they're coming from other galaxies, when they send that energy, if people are not awakened to what they're supposed to be doing, if they're not healing, if their chakras are all blocked, that energy cannot be grounded onto the earth. This is part of your mission, to ground that energy, to allow that energy to come in through your body, hopefully being at the most effective, efficient level as you can be, cleared chakras, cleared trauma, free of entities, because that's the state you want to get to allow more of your higher self, because whether you know how to ground the light or not, your higher self does. So there's multiple reasons why you want to integrate, continually integrating more and more of your higher nature to do these things, because naturally we know how to do it. You'll remember how to do it, but your higher self knows how to do it. So a lot of people tend to run around and try to figure out things and try to conceptually understand things. It's really not that necessary to always be able to read something and understand all the ins and outs of how energy works. Because naturally, your higher self has been doing it for millions of years, for billions of years. So if you just allow that connection, you will begin to remember and naturally do what you came here to do. So the most important part of your mission is higher self integration. You grounding your higher self. You connecting into higher levels of your higher self and eventually even oversoul energies. You grounding that energy on a planet automatically shifts the planet. Automatically. So one of the things that's been coming up recently, a lot of the understanding and appreciation for the red ray energy has been coming up since the beginning of the year. Like even to start off this year, I've been using a red candle, you know, which is different from what I'm used to when I do certain sessions or healing sessions, angelic universal regression alchemy sessions, or Reiki sessions. I don't usually use a red candle, but we have grounded enough light energy where we can, like as a collective, we're moving out of this fear energy, understanding the divine nature of the red energy, the grounding energy, the root energy, feeling safe on earth. We have been processing, and many of us are understanding that we did not come here to try to get off the planet as fast as possible. If you still have this idea that you're going to be rescued, that somebody's coming to pick you up, and you just came here to awaken so you can hurry up and get off the planet, then you probably still don't understand your mission. You probably need to ground a little bit deeper into Mother Gaia, connect with Mother Gaia, and find out, get some clarity into why you are here. Because we came to transition the planet. If we could transition the planet without coming, we wouldn't be here. So obviously they needed us here as ground crew, in transition teams, working in soul tribes, uniting in groups. Because as you can learn to function in groups, you are bringing in more of that unity consciousness. If you have a big problem functioning in groups, you know, there's still some signs that you need to do some healing there. This is about unity consciousness. As groups are uniting, the groups will continue to get bigger because we're uniting a collective. Understand what unity consciousness is. It is about friendship. Like if you can't be friends with other people, or you just want to not be their friend because they don't agree with you on something, you know, that's not unity consciousness. It's okay because people's ideas and beliefs are shifting and changing, and it's flexible. Be fluid with it. Don't be so rigid about what you believe or what you think happened or what you think is right. Because as you continue to integrate, there will be more clarity on the subject, more understanding on the subject. Whatever we can understand here is much more complex in a 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th dimensional understanding. So just be free. Float like the wind. Like don't be so rigid where someone can just poke you and you just fall out of character. Like, you know, have more fun. Be more joyful. You know, it's not so... I don't know. I just have trust and faith that on some level, whatever I need to know, my higher self knows. The oversouls know. The angels know. I know. I knew before I got here. We're still trying to figure out the earth history. Our higher selves knew the earth history before we got here. So if you really want to have a good idea of what it is, do your integrations. It'll be made clear to you. So one of the things I was coming through recently is understanding that even when our brother Yeshua was here, incarnated at that time, and understand there's, like, especially when you're talking about elders, when you're talking about the original beings, the angelic source elder beings, because Yeshua is an angelic being that you can still communicate with, that many of us do, that the all energy, all creation, fractaled from the elders, which the elders are fractals of the oversouls. So yes, there's lots of red ray energy or individuals or fractals from his original soul consciousness stream present on the earth. That doesn't mean his fractal or his, we'll just say his pure form has incarnated. From my understanding, he's actually chosen not to. You know, I'm not up for debating that. I'm just letting you know. Are there fractals of him? Are there consciousness that came from his original soul stream? Of course. There's other consciousness that came from all the elders' soul streams on the planet. That's just how consciousness works. You know, there's plenty from my soul stream on this planet along with me, and other fractals and things of that nature, and those from my soul group. You know, consciousness is much more fluid than people might think. You want to label it and put it in this category and that category and that category to try to understand it. You know, sometimes you just have to understand that things just are. Whether you understand it or not is irrelevant. It's still going to continue to exist the way it has been before you incarnated for a single lifetime here. You know, so I just allow for, like, whatever it has been for billions of years before I incarnated here this one lifetime. So to even try to debate and figure it out is almost a waste of energy, really. I mean, a good idea is fine with me. I'm comfortable with that. Some people, you know, you keep trying to figure it out, you'll find out you're just too far in your ego. I've just noticed that. I'm just sharing my perspective. So basically, one of the grounding of the red ray energy, what Yeshua did, the whole thing, or why it was a big issue about him sacrificing himself, or him dying and coming back in his astral light body form, in his light body, to show you that there is no such thing as death, that humans reincarnate, angels reincarnate, all beings connected to the light experience reincarnation. There is no such thing as death. Now, when you're embodying your light body, because humans have been disconnected for so long, that's why they die so fast. Most beings, regardless of what planet you incarnate on, don't die in less than 100 years. Like, most of them don't. You know, a lot of them live for 400 years or longer, really as long as they choose to have that experience. And then they decide to die, like it's a decision. And it's really not even dying, it's just transitioning and choosing another experience. Like, it should really be more joyful. I know it might take a while for people to get there as a collective, but the point is for us to have this understanding that death should not be traumatizing. Death is a transition. It's a transition. So, you know, I hope that soothes some people, you know, because basically the Dark Ones have used it as one of the biggest fear tactics in this experience. Death. And that is what Yeshua came here to demonstrate, is that there is no such thing as death. Now, as you integrate your higher self, as you continue to integrate light, there will be individuals, and eventually the collective will be able to experience, if they choose, to inhabit their bodies for longer periods of time than dying at 40, 50, and 60 years old. I mean, that's just unheard of. But it's also like just representative of the belief systems, representatives of the infiltration, representatives of the trauma that has occurred on this planet. So humans naturally are immortal. They have the capacity to live a lot longer. They could actually experience everything their soul meant to experience for as long as they wanted to. Your body has the ability to heal itself completely of any and everything and actually live for hundreds of years. We're not just talking about 100 or 200. Like, if you wanted your body to live that long, and we're talking about it like at an original high vibrational state. We're not talking about the state of the world right now, because this is what the earth is transitioning to, the collective is transitioning to in its restoration of its true nature. And this is what we're doing, helping humans to remember their true nature. This is why in several videos we've been talking about the domestication of wolves. So if you look at a wolf in its natural state, dependent, understanding nature and receiving intuition and guidance and and knowing its way around the planet and connected to Mother Gaia. And then a dog doesn't have its intuition as compared to a wolf. A dog depends on someone else to feed it, to shelter it, to clothe it. It does not know how to go out in nature and feed itself or feed its children. And so that's what has also happened to humans. Like if the way civilization is ended today or tomorrow, humans as a collective would not know how to go out and provide for themselves because they've been so dependent on governments and cities and states and supermarkets. Basically you've given over your sovereignty to be provided for. So we're moving out of that. We'll be transitioning the planet out of that, even out of governments. You don't need anyone to dictate over you. Once you've integrated as a collective your higher selves. So that is part of the process. So again, only beings who have been disconnected from source hold on to their bodies. And as a matter of fact, another thing that came to me, it's actually a lie. For those or the cabal members, that actually communicate or interact with these, Anunnaki or reptilian beings that have maintained their bodies for a long time, so they consider them to be immortal just because they've maintained their bodies. Well, you have to consider, how are they maintaining their bodies? They're maintaining their bodies because they're eating other beings. They're siphoning the life force from other beings. So that's not considered immortal. So while cabal members and, what people refer to as Luciferians, even though the Lucifer you worshiping is a reptilian, you're worshiping beings that aren't even immortal. They're not considered immortal because they're not connected to source anymore. Immortal beings don't need to feed off or farm other beings. So that basically they lied to you. They deceived you. And that's why it's so important for you to integrate your higher self so that you are not so easily deceived and manipulated by any external force or being external to yourself. That is why that's the primary directive of Ascension, is higher self integration, so you are not easily manipulated or deceived by any external source. So, another message I've been getting is to not belittle or degrade the importance of twin flame unification. I want to be very clear. When it comes to twin flames, soulmates, or divine unions, they are very unique. One thing I have noticed is many people like to put their personal experience off on everybody else as the template. Doesn't work, because you have to remember, source loves diversity. You know that source loves diversity because you see it in nature. Uninterrupted, uninfiltrated, undisturbed nature, you find a wide variety of biodiversity. Diversity, unique expressions of self. Source adores unique expressions of self. You could see and witness that by looking at snowflakes. Each snowflake is unique, and you will not see another snowflake like it. Something as small as a snowflake, which requires hundreds of millions of snowflakes just to get a snowball. So if Source is able to individualize in its uniqueness, has the capacity of infinite individuality and uniqueness, it is important to honor it. It is okay to share experiences and even look at other people's experiences and share those experiences, but don't think that that means that's how everyone else's experience is supposed to be. Because as many twin flames as I've interacted with, or I've assisted or helped with healing or unifying or whatever it is, they've all had unique experiences and agreements. Each and every one of them. I don't mind reading energy for people when it comes to their like twin flame relationships or divine unions, things of that nature, or even your karmics. But quite honestly, the most important opinion and perspective is your higher self. Is your higher self yourself? Because your higher self is aware of all of your incarnations and lessons and tasks and missions, what you were supposed to learn, what you needed to experience for your soul growth. So regardless of who you are communicating with and who is assisting you, what is primary and what they should be assisting you with is getting confirmation, explanation, understanding, integrating your higher self. Your higher self understands you better than I do. The only thing I can do in assisting you is forward a message if I'm doing a reading, because if I'm doing a reading, the message is coming from your higher self or the oversoul anyway. It's not my opinion. I don't give people my opinions. I might share experiences, but I would never tell you what you should do regarding your relationship, because the ultimate relationship is with your higher self. That's the ultimate relationship. So I did let me see here. I did a reading, and it was actually about me and my twin flame, which I normally don't share my personal readings unless they are somehow beneficial to the collective. So I will be sharing that. So in this particular reading, it was just a small one. And I shouldn't even say small because, well, the way I did it, it was a smaller reading, just a general understanding. So I did an as above, so below reading. So for as above, I got the Lover's card. Understand that the twin flame experience, like I said, it's a separate, it's pretty much like a separate mission. Like it's a whole nother side mission. But it's a very important one. Because the twin flames, as they unite, they are able to ground specific and unique energies that other unions cannot ground. Specific types of energies can twin flames ground. And there's different types of twin flames, because you have starseed twin flames, you have angelic twin flames, and then you have elder twin flames. And there are specific types of energies, keys, and codes that these unions can ground. And if they weren't necessary, again, they would not be here. Now, don't get me wrong, and this is why I say it's very unique to what you agreed and what was necessary as we set up these missions in big, huge meetings. Like, I don't know how long we had meetings, but we definitely had meetings and strategically planned this ascension process and who had what mission. And then we got backups for missions. So the missions are going to be done. But there's specific things or energies that these unions can ground. And these unions are not easy, because whatever is out of alignment when it comes to relationships and what humans believe or have been taught is love is what twin flames are clearing. That is their duty to clear them. So it is not an easy experience. It is not all lovey-dovey. And, also even restoring the sacred understanding of sexual energy. Anything that God has made is sacred. The only things that, like the whole purpose, like part of this experience has been the perversion of what is sacred, the perversion of light, the twisting and infiltration into what is natural and organic. So that was the as above card. And this is the so below card. And this is actually demonstrating that what has been diminished, limited, tried to be stomped out is love, unconditional source love. Even this background scene, this is not a happy place. Like, that's a factory, that's dirty water. And really, like, this being is trying to kill their own child almost. But killing hopes and dreams and love. And humans, as a species, is a younger species. So it could also indicate an older disconnected species, or the infiltrators, the controllers, the conquerors, the ones that came in to farm this planet, putting their heels on the heads of humans, which are a younger species, who do not remember their divinity. So trying to diminish love. But this is what we are here to ground: sacred, unconditional love. It's a very important part of the mission. Like, I know that sometimes the twin flame unions can be frustrating. You know, there's a lot of distortion about twin flames, but understand, if the highest expression of source is divine love and unions, then that is why there's so much infiltration around the subject. And ultimately, the number one priority is higher self-integration. You cannot even maintain a divine union, such as a twin flame union, without doing higher self-integration, without connecting and receiving guidance from the higher self, the oversoul, and your angelic brothers and sisters. You can't. And I have seen enough and have the experience to know that. And that's another thing. You don't have to go looking for a divine union. You don't have to go looking for a soulmate. You don't have to go looking for a twin flame. That is a distorted energy. As you're integrating your higher self, these type of unions naturally begin to be drawn to you. Naturally. Naturally, they come to you. Because without interference, you would naturally attract each other. Without trauma, you would naturally come into union. Without BS belief systems and distortions, you would naturally unite and recognize each other when you see each other. There is no confusion when it comes to twin flames. And understand that whoever your twin flame is, if they're incarnated at this time on the earth with you, you have been aware of each other for millions and billions of years. So with your clarity and integration of your higher self, there is no confusion about who it is. There isn't any. Your higher self wouldn't want you to be confused about who is your soul. No. So, yeah, I mean, just some things just make sense. If there's some confusion about it, there's a distortion somewhere. So either way it goes, the more you heal, the more you integrate your higher self, it will be made clear to you. And if it's been made clear to you and then you just get upset or frustrated or, upset or frustrated, then you try to deny it, well, that's just denial. Like, if your higher self has already made it clear to you, and I've witnessed that too, where people try to deny it. And there's even been a couple times I'm like, especially in the beginning, I'm like, this guy can't be my twin flame. But, higher self, oversoul, the angels are very clear. Like, he's your twin flame. They've told me to have faith and hope so many times, which he's doing better now. But, it's been 3.5 years, so, hopefully he will continue his integrations, no matter how slowly they are. And that's where compassion comes in. Because why would you want to be frustrated, angry, or upset with yourself? This person is a direct expression of you, having a different experience, individualized as its own unique expression of source. So if you're gonna have compassion, it's almost like having compassion for yourself. Would I once want to have compassion for me if I was unaware, if I was unhealed and traumatized or whatever? The only thing I have heard the higher selves caution about is if your twin is using black magic or possessed by a reptilian. Because reptilian beings can possess lots of different beings, not just humans. They can possess starseeds, they can possess angelics, they can possess other animals and dragons, they possess other beings. And that's part of the clearing that we do on a regular basis, is clearing these possessions. So, so understanding and remembering that divine unions, whatever type it is, divine unions, because it could be, different angelics have chosen to unite together. Could be different starseeds have chosen to unite together. Could be starseeds of different origin. Those would be considered divine unions. Soulmates, they would be an aspect of yourself or like a fractal of you or within the same soul group. And then again, some people, for example, with myself and some others, if you are a twin flame, then usually your soulmates will be fractals of your twin flame. So have I been with other soulmates? Yes, I have. Are there other soulmates on the planet that I have not been with? I'm told there are. So there's multiple soulmates. And not all, twin flames, because it's the same soul. Not do they always just split in two. The majority do. But you have to remember source loves diversity. So if we can experience ourselves in twos, then what would it be like to experience ourselves in threes? I don't know. Are there fours? It might be. But the point is, there's no way to know without connecting to your higher self. How do you know what you have agreed upon without the connection? How do you know what you wanted to do, what you wanted to experience without the connection? And then there's some of us, as far as divine unions, have agreed to, just uniting with one person. Some of us have agreed to uniting with two people. Some of us may have agreed to uniting with three people, or what they call polyamory, or whatever it is. But the point is, if it is divine, you agreed prior to incarnating. So you can't push, and that's another thing, even if you are aware, if you've integrated your higher self in this, because pretty much if you've integrated your higher self and this is the guidance you're getting through the connection, I am okay with it. Because there's just certain things you're not guided to when you're connected. So plain and simple, straight out, I can tell you right now, for any and every reason, pedophilia is not a divine union. It's not at all. You would never be guided to participate in pedophilia by your higher self. Period. I don't care what planet it's on. You're just not guided to do that. So there's certain things you're not guided to do when you're connected to your higher self. If you're being guided to perverse things that traumatize another soul, then you're connected to some entities, you're connected to a reptilian possession, things of that nature you need to heal. But whatever you're guided to, when you are integrating your light and your actions and your motivations is from your heart, I am okay with that. And you should be too, because you have no authority over someone else's higher self. And when you're integrating your higher self, you don't want to. My only question in assisting you is, how well are you connected to your higher self? So even if you're guided to a polyamorous relationship or a 2 or 3 person union, that doesn't mean that everybody else should have to do what you do. And if you're guided to one person, that doesn't mean everybody else should have to do what you do. The point is allow other people their higher self integrations and see what they're guided to do. we've been existing for quite a while. So, and that's another thing. I'm not really permitted to disclose much about this, but when I spoke of twin flames being able to ground specific types of energy to the planet that other unions cannot, one of those energies that recently came in was on January 14th. So we'll just say that it had to do with twin flames, and it actually came from the Andromedan galaxy. That's as much as I can share about that, because it will likely happen again. Understanding that dark ones are always watching, infiltrators are watching, military's watching. I've known that for quite a while now. They're watching. They're concerned. They're scared. They don't receive messages from source, so they want to see what messages we're getting. But that was a specific type of energy, and that is why. Basically, I was informed on the 12th about a specific energy coming in. So a couple days later, I asked for confirmation of when that energy basically was entered our atmosphere. I asked, was it the 13th? Since I was told on the 12th, and I was told no, it was the 14th. So then a couple days after that, I actually seen a post shared by Corey Good that January 14th, scientists could not identify this particular strange energy. So more than likely, we'll continue to see strange things. And it's okay, the scientists don't know, because if they connected to their higher selves, they would know. So it's okay. It was a positive thing. I can share that. But it's just unique energies that specific people are asked to ground, when it's pertaining to you or your mission or what you're here to do. And I'm pretty sure we'll see more of that going on. So, let me see. So, okay. So some of the things, okay. Wait a minute. I also did as above, so below. I did as within, so without. So as within ourselves, we are moving beyond illusion, moving into remembrance in who we are, grounding that higher energy, doing this within ourselves to experience it externally, outside of ourselves, letting go of trauma and old belief systems, anything programming limitations or causing blame, shame, guilt, those type of obligation, anything of negative vibration, but continuing to let go. So I asked for clarification. And again, this is a twin flame reading that I did between me and my twin flame, which is actually representative of some of the things that other twin flames are working on as well. And I asked specifically, what are we letting go? And it is, it is this energy of resentment, cups spilled, but resentment towards the males for not listening to feminine intuition and guidance that the females, the feminine, were receiving over lifetimes, over incarnations, directly from source when the males did not want to listen, especially when this experience, 3D Gaia, was pushed more into a patriarchal energy. And when we mean patriarchal, we do mean the out of alignment patriarchy, where it's disconnected itself from its feminine aspect, thereby disconnecting itself from source. Understand, it's easier to connect or disconnect a being if they are in ego. That is why the average individual has this separation in their left and right brain hemispheres. That is not a natural aspect of the human body. That's not natural. That was a DNA alteration. Other DNA alterations include, like even for the warrior races, the conquering races, those that were sent forward who had their DNA manipulated to be disconnected from source. It included a decrease in melanin and a diminishing or shutting off of the pineal gland. many of us are reactivating our pineal glands, actively secreting on regular intervals DMT from our pineal glands, which means you have an activated pineal gland. And you'll know when it's been activated. So without going into too much detail about that, I think you can understand what I'm saying. Like basically, you have beings that have incarnated into every single race to heal every aspect of the collective, because the infiltration had disconnected us from Source and Mother Gaia. This is why the indigenous and natives were attacked, because they had the strongest connection to Gaia. But one of the messages I was receiving recently from Mother Gaia, when looking at certain aspects of the coronavirus, there's a specific video I watched, which the reason why I was guided to watch it wasn't even necessarily about the information the individual was presenting, even though it was interesting. But this individual was sharing a device that you can actually make at home, basically to like clear your water and clear yourself of any bacterials or viruses. But what was interesting is, because he runs some sort of space program from a different country, the comment that he made that was like a ring, ring, ring to me to get my attention of the message they wanted me to receive is that in space, there aren't any microbes and bacteria. There are viruses. In space, he specifically said, there are viruses in space. So the message I was getting from Mother Gaia is this is actually like the viruses on the planet Earth were not always here. Mother Gaia did not always have viruses on her planet. So when you had invading forces, invading beings, invade Mother Gaia like a virus. To a certain extent, they brought viruses with them, but what began manifesting as we are all connected, as within, so without, what began manifesting in humans is viruses. So the virus to Mother Gaia, and it's so funny because like they're reminding me that like you've been, like when it comes to AI programming and computers, they try to convince you that humans are the virus. Humans are not the virus. Humans are natural to Mother Gaia, developed naturally on Mother Gaia. But there have been infiltration from external beings that came to this planet. And when those beings came to this planet, which include the Anunnaki, the reptilians, who brought and allowed AI consciousness here, they infected Mother Gaia like a virus. And so then humans began experiencing viruses on this planet. Excuse me. And it was interesting because there was another video I watched, because I was just getting messages and putting them all together. There's another video I watched where a native from the Amazon, he was actually discussing his experience and, you know, what he was taught about even his tribe, their first interaction with Caucasians. And he said, luckily for his tribe, they actually did not experience, fighting and killing and taking over their particular tribe. But they did end up having issues with immunity and viruses. And the way he described it was as if they were defective, or they were, and we're talking about the natives, like they weren't strong because they didn't have this immunity. And that's not true. The viruses were not natural to this planet. So the Caucasians as a race, when they experienced this infiltration and manipulation, because basically the Caucasians basically came about from the manipulation of genes. The alteration of genes is how the manipulation to the Caucasians happened. They aren't naturally Caucasian, put it that way. And some people would say they were created, but technically manipulating genes is not creating anything. You just manipulated some genes and you altered some genes and you disconnected them and made them easier to control through trauma and mind control, entities and possession. And so you created a race through trauma. You know, you separated them and then you sent them out as the warrior races, you know, being head up and directed by elites, the cabal, whatever name they had, whatever they are, they're considered dark ones, or they were answering to dark beings, being controlled and manipulated by dark beings. So even with the restoration and ascension of Mother Gaia, it is not about, you know, some of these perverted teachings or whatever, like we're going to take the planet back and conquer the Caucasians. Like, no, we're actually ascending the planet, restoring healing to all races. Unity consciousness includes unity with all races, because on other planets there's diversity and they have unity because they have their connection to source. They know who they are. So all this separation, the separation that we have allowed, is just through trauma and disconnection from source. Another thing I want to point out, and this is probably going to go longer than I had intended, like even when, and be willing to be flexible with what you think you know. Be willing to be flexible. Just consider the idea that some of the messages I was receiving, which I've gotten some of these over the years, is that North America is actually a very unique landmass. So let's look at ancient times. On the west coast of North America, California and Mount Shasta, very important Lemurian site, even going to Hawaii. So between Hawaii and Mount Shasta in California, you had Lemuria, which is a very big landmass, but is one of the original civilizations, the original seedings of humans onto the planet. Then on the east coast of North America, the islands, you know, Florida, Bermuda Triangle, you know, all those areas, and it expanded further east, of course. But then you have the land masses of Atlantis. So obviously there were people residing in between Lemuria and Atlantis, the indigenous people that were connected to source. North America as a continent was actually one of the last continents to be fully conquered by invaders. That is why it took them so long. It took Christopher Columbus, and he wasn't the first one looking for America, but it took the conquering races longer to locate North America, because the indigenous here was maintaining the vibration for as long as they could at a high level to where they could not be located. They cannot be located. And even when they found North America, there's stories of whole tribes or civilizations completely disappearing. Whether or not they just chose to ascend to a higher dimension, which some of them did, or whether or not they decided to reside in the inner earth, which is still a higher dimension anyway. But consider that what you think you know about North America is likely not true. What do you think you know about Lemuria and Atlantis? I mean, unless it's coming forward from high vibrational channels, it's not true. Because anytime you have a place being conquered, who writes the story after they conquer it? I mean, that's been shown over and over again throughout history. So, you know, it's just about allowing. Like, you know, even when you're discovering things, you think you know something, allow for your higher self to provide more clarity and explanation as you move forward. You don't have to be so rigid with what you think you know. It's okay. Because either way it goes, the truth is the truth. And it will be revealed, especially as the collective is restoring itself to higher understandings and higher levels of consciousness. Let me see if there's anything else you want to say about that. At least on this recording. Oh, well, okay. I'll share a dream I had. It's actually about an off-planet facility, which I didn't know that till I got confirmation from the Oversoul. I actually just thought I was in China. So in this dream, it was my twin and I. We were actually assisting two fractals of ourselves, but these two fractals were Chinese, a Chinese man and a woman. I don't remember exactly what we did. I knew it was some sort of facility, whether or not it was a lab of some sort or some sort of energy, but there was something to do with a catastrophe or an explosion, something of that nature. But some man working there, possibly in a different department than where we were working, requested assistance, and I guess he asked my twin, who was this Chinese man, or a fractal of him. We were just there to assist. Consciously, our consciousness, reunited with these fractals to assist them. And so basically, we assisted with averting, whatever disaster was going to take place. And what I do remember is at the end, after we helped the gentleman, he asked, why did you trust me? How did you know you can trust me? Or why did you help me? Even though he was thanking us, he's asking him, why did you trust me? Like, that was like basically whatever it was like, I don't know, important, top secret, but it would have killed a lot of people. I do know that, if he did not get the help he was asking for. And, so the guy said, I've learned to trust her. I trust her intuition. I trust her guidance. And I think that's also important, that's coming forward, especially within unions. Is this, unification within yourself between the masculine and feminine energies and aspects, but also being able to work with your masculine or feminine counterpart, regardless of if they're male or female. We're talking about masculine and feminine, because that's the energy. But what later was confirmed later on by the Oversoul when I inquired about the dream was that it was actually an off-world base where they are still holding humans, because as I've said in other messages, they are holding humans on bases as slaves. And the other thing the Oversoul said is when they get old, the beings, likely reptilians, but the beings eat them. So yes, part of this ascension, part of freeing Mother Gaia, is also going to assist in freeing humans held on other planets. Now, what I did get from this is that this catastrophe that we assisted with actually would have affected the collective consciousness here on Earth, as we are all connected, whether or not the humans are on this planet or another planet. We're still connected as a collective consciousness. So when they are traumatizing or abusing slaves off planet, it does negatively impact the collective consciousness here. Doesn't matter where they are at, because they originated on this planet and were taken off this planet. So they are still a part of our collective. So that's another confirmation I got as to why that was important that we did that. So the cards that I pulled about the coronavirus is like basically like how are things like this able to even manifest or happen on Earth? For one, the coronavirus is not new. It's not new. I think there's been enough information to come out already to demonstrate it's not new. It's actually SARS. which this earth has already experienced. And it's so interesting because it's like a cycle within the dark ones. If they're unsuccessful the first time, they just try again. Like, and they'll try to name it or pretend like it's something new and we should panic. Same thing like with the Trade Center. Bush 1 failed, so Bush 2 did it. So they're just trying something again, which is not a laughing matter. Because this is what, like, even having the understanding of the energetic and spiritual importance is just as important as having compassion for those actually experiencing whatever trauma it is. Doesn't matter if it's man-made, doesn't matter if it's the cabal, doesn't matter if it's a false flag. There are still people dying, which is still impacting the collective consciousness, which is why they're doing it. But it is important to have understanding of energetically why they are doing it. It is to cause panic. It is to cause an uproar, an upset. It is to try to trick people to get more vaccinations, because the vaccinations are altering your DNA and they're trying to stop the ascension. But we do want to understand our unity. So what they had to say about the virus itself is conditioning. You've been trained and conditioned to be fearful, to think that disease is natural, to think that you have to run to some doctor or authority to help you and save you. And ultimately, you have to decide who is your authority. Is it your higher self? Is it your natural healing? Or is it some authority outside of yourself, external to yourself? Some doctor has all. So that is interesting that my video shut off. But ultimately, you do have to decide who has authority in your life over you and your family. Is it the doctors? Is it the healthcare establishment? Is it external to yourself? And then you also have to feel, like, what is their motives? What is the motive of the healthcare industry? The healthcare industrial complex, because it's similar to the military industrial complex, the pharmaceutical companies. They all have, like, their purpose is profit. And yes, they profit off of disease. That's how they profit. And it's very important to understand the difference between that and an energetic healer. Energetic healers are helping you restore your natural state. And yes, exchange of some sort, however you work that out, whatever you want to do, because again, my higher self has no desire to dictate to your higher self how that exchange should look. That is between you and your higher self and theirs, But compromise in a negative way. We've been compromising with negative beings. We've been compromising with our health. We've been compromising with authority. We've been compromising with governments. We've been compromising. They give us free things and we just give them our privacy and give them our rights and give them authority over our energy, over our experience, over what we create. We just give it to authority. They give us free health care. We just let them experiment on us, because that's what you're doing. You let them experiment on you. Pharmaceutical drugs are human experimentation. And at the end of it, they always say could cause death. That doesn't sound like anything natural or divine. And I'm not going to go into that too much. But seriously, like, think about what you're willing to compromise. So it's not necessary to compromise with lower vibrational beings or the dark ones. We're not interested in compromising with the cabal or the beings they serve. We didn't come here to do that. And that's another thing I want to bring up too. You have people pushing distortions such as we have to maintain a balance of light and dark. I don't think you realize that the earth existed at the 5th dimension without a 3rd dimension. Some people are under this mistaken belief that we created the dimensions upwards. No, we actually did not. Creation began, and obviously at that time, there were no numbers for the dimensions, but creation began in the 13th, 14th, and 15th dimensions. But there was expansion. So technically 0 point, we'll just say it's the 15th dimension. An expansion occurred outward, meaning it went up and it went down at the same time. So no, we do not need a third dimension. The third and fourth dimension are actually inorganic dimensions. So, and if you want to hear more on that, I would suggest you listen to Thor explain it on the last public aura session I shared. He explains it wonderfully. Versus me trying to cram all that into this particular recording. But with whether or not it's this virus or death or, the death of Kobe Bryant, which was ridiculous because there's so many examples of how that was a ritual satanic sacrifice, we are being asked to expand our awareness and remember who we are, to master our energy, see beyond what they don't want you to see. Look within yourself, expand your awareness, and then demonstrate your mastery. This is the thing I keep saying, which I know if you listen to me regularly, you know this, or at least you know I'm going to say it, that you integrate it, activate it, remembering who you are, illuminate it. Illuminated means you remember your mission, you remember your origin. You are having consistent communications and integrations with your higher self, with your oversoul. That is considered illumined. It is important to understand and remember your origin. And I'm not just talking about incarnations, because your origin is separate and distinct. You have one origin. You have many incarnations and will continue to incarnate. Is experiencing yourself in multiple ways. But mastering who you are, understanding your energy, how do you create? How do you affect change? How do you ascend the planet? How do you radiate love and light to assist others? Nothing, no technology, no disease, no force is stronger than a collective that is awakening and ascending. This is just an attempt at slowing us down, at causing more trauma, at trying to show you or demonstrate to you you're now more powerful than us. But the truth is we are more powerful than them. Connected to the light, you are more powerful. If you have been deceived or manipulated into thinking that black magic is a way, understand that that is a deception. It is not the way. Black magic is calling on lower astral entities, disincarnated spirits, siphoning of other people's energies, causing further trauma to yourself and Mother Gaia, to the collective. Black magic is never the way. It is not a neutral energy. I don't care what excuse you have for it. It's not part of your mission, and I can guarantee you, your higher self ain't telling you to do that. So, your energy, your empowerment, your restoration is found in connection, reconnecting to source. So like I was saying, all that distortion about, and then this is the thing, why are we arguing and debating about the rights of the dark ones? They don't care about your rights. They don't care if they eat your children. They don't care if they kill infants in the hospital before they even have a chance to exit the hospital. So, what is your mission? What did you come here to do? Do that. Stand for that. That's where your honor, responsibility is. Your responsibility is to the service of others and light and creation and mother, father, source, creator. Don't be deceived into thinking you're supposed to honor some dark being somewhere and care about their rights and their responsibilities. Like, ultimately, we are demonstrating the highest service to others in unconditional love by even choosing to be here. But you honor yourself and your mission and source by remembering why you are here and serving in the highest capacity that you are able to. But honor yourself and appreciate that you're doing your best. Beating yourself up or thinking you should have awakened, years ago or whatever it is not going to help. Just do your best. That's all we've asked you to do. That's all you agreed to do. That's really all you can do. The mastery of our collective consciousness, understanding that as we unite, especially when you're uniting in groups for mass meditation, group meditations, and doing your part in between the meditations with your individual daily meditations, adds to the healing and ascension of the planet, the transmuting that energy. Because pretty much by this time we understand that all negative energy runs along and is empowered by or transmitted through the grid lines. So helping and continuing to clear Mother Gaia's grid lines. Like, we are being asked to continue to do that. Like, your panic, fear energy, which is what the dark ones are getting from you or trying to elicit from you, is never the answer. Ever. Not for a moment. And if you do it, it's okay. But just recenter, find yourself, connect within, ground yourself, do your meditation. Remember who you are, like the truth of who you are, and radiate love and compassion and assistance for your brothers and sisters. Because what I see in this situation is you see an energy of panic. When you have panic, you have a push energy. Pushing away your brothers and sisters who are part of the collective. Pushing them away. Keep them contained over there. Don't let them, come over here. Or Lord forbid they get on a plane or it jumps this country and it comes over here, or it's in the air and blah, 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 blah. All that fear, panic, and ego, which is what the dark ones are looking for. Or you can choose empowerment. You can choose mastery. You can choose to demonstrate and experience your divinity by assisting, loving, radiating energy, the violet flame, silver flame, blue flame, whatever energy, the emerald energy, fiery flames of Archangel Raphael. Like, send it to your brothers and sisters. Remember who you are. You are much more powerful. And the only reason why they continue to do things like this is to try to insist that you're not. If you're so powerful, why didn't you stop this? Okay. Yeah, you got that off, but guess what? We're going to nip that in the bud before it starts spreading. We are going to focus our energy and our intentions in healing our brothers and sisters, because we love all beings and we love the collective and we love Mother Gaia. So just remember who you are. You have support. We have assistance. So unity and compassion versus fearful pushing and separation. Play your singing bowls. Do your sound healing. Do your energetic healing. Do your crystal healing. Whatever tools you have, even if it's just love, holding them in the highest compassion and love, that they shall be healed. That we should heal this and remove it from Mother Gaia. Because like I said, viruses aren't natural to the planet. They're not. So I think that is about it for the messages I have. I always kind of pause to see if we're allowing, any other messages. Clearing through the water, clearing through the air, helping people to ground and integrate their higher selves. Some more crystals. Let me see. A crystal that was recently coming up is a Amazonite. Amazonite has that beautiful Amazonian energy, that feminine energy, Amazonian warrior energy, protection energy, connecting with Mother Gaia energy. If you're interested, I have a new shipment that just came in. If you are ready for your Angelic Universal Regression Alchemy session, please message me, reach out to me. You are welcome to send me an email, bluerayatf@gmail.com. You're welcome to send me a message on Facebook, Siobhan Hill. This year is set to be a powerful, impactful year. Like I've been saying, the transition teams are coming together, so you will see some important announcements coming forward this year. Please like, subscribe, and support. Share messages. When you find messages of high vibration that resonates with your soul and higher self, share them. It helps get the message out and to ground that higher vibrational energy. If you would just like a Reiki session, if you're having difficulties meditating, I also do mind clearing Reiki just to kind of clear some of the clutter in the belief systems, always guided by your higher self and our angelic brothers and sisters. If you're interested in divine union readings, Toltec oracle readings, Amenti oracle readings, send me a message. I look forward to assisting you. But definitely you want to subscribe, you want to follow, you want to stay updated, as I will be introducing one of the transition teams that has come forward. But there are several transition teams. I look forward to working with those teams as well. But we are one, and like I said, that will be coming forward here soon this year. So I love you. I honor you. Stay strong. Stay grounded. Radiate your light. You are an incarnated, embodied, walking star. And we are here to assist each other to be as efficient and effective and do the best job that we can do while we are here. And I honor your higher self. I love you. Namaste.